And we're back today with another video reacting to the entire history of the NBA, I guess. Shout out to our guy moderntwothree for making this video. The link to this video will be down below in the description. I just made a fresh brewed coffee. It's sizzling. It's hot. So do what you need to do, whether it's getting your popcorn out, whether it is sipping on coffee, eating supper, eating lunch. I don't care whether you watch this in the shower. I don't care. But this is going to be a fun video, okay? And we're going to do it together.
My first impression of NBA competition, that people in the NBA are really good.
Like, that got to be, like, that's got to be fake.
Let's go back in time. Like, really, really back. Back to 1891 to be exact.
1891?
The Big Bang just happened. Dinosaurs were roaming the earth. Cavemen just discovered how to start a fire. Alright, none of that was actually happening in 1891, but there was something really important that did happen. This is James Naismith, a gym teacher at the YMCA in Massachusetts. The weather in Massachusetts that day, well, I don't know the exact number. Who do I look like? But it was cold. And Naismith had to find something for his students to do indoors. And that's where basketball comes to play, because, well, this is when James Naismith invented the sport.
That's crazy, though. Shout out to James Naismith. He's actually my goat.
What we all know today, well, this is the first basketball hoop in 1891, a peach basket. On a side note, though, I'm easily dropping a 50-piece on her. I know she can't.
Bro, I would drop 100 on her. I'd break Wilt's record. What are we talking about?
Can't guard me, and if James tries to step up, I'm dunking on him, too. Joking. But 7 years later, the first professional basketball league was introduced, the NBL. That was in 1898.
Ew!
48 years after that, 1946, the league we all know and love today, the NBA was introduced. The first season, 11 teams. The Capitals, Warriors, Knicks, Steamrollers, Celtics.
Dude, this is crazy that literally now, obviously some of the cities are the same, but the Celtics and the Knicks are still the same. The St. Louis Bombers. That's a crazy.
Huskies, Stags,
thing.
Bombers, Rebels, Falcons, and Ironmen. The name Ironman is so hard, had that not stick around. But this is the first game in NBA history. Between the Knicks and Huskies, shout out to Ozzie Shetman, the guy who got the first bucket in NBA history.
It was a great feeling. Open the league, scored the first 2 points. I got a charge out of that.
The first years in the NBA fluctuated with teams, dropping down to 8 in the second season, then picking back up to 12 in the third. Your first NBA champion.
Look at what I'm watching, man. Like, these guys couldn't even play on the 7th grade B team in my city. What is going on here?
In the second season, then picking back up to 12 in the third. Your first NBA champions were the Warriors, Bullets, and Lakers. In 1954, the shot clock was introduced, the 24-second one we use today.
I'm surprised that it took high school so long to pick up the shot clock. Like, where's this been at?
First player you're going to know of, though. The first MVP was introduced into the NBA in 1956. The first guy to take it home, Atlanta Hawks legend Bob Pettit.
But that
offseason was one of the most important in NBA history. We're now looking at April 30th, 1956. New York City, the Rochester Royals hold the first pick in the NBA draft. They drafted their guy, Cy Green. And now the St. Louis Hawks are on the clock. On the board, University of San Francisco center, Bill Russell. And that's who they drafted.
Imagine taking Cy Green over Bill Russell, even though Bill is overrated.
And then immediately flipped him to the Celtics. One of the worst trades in NBA history we don't talk about. Here's the video of Bill Russell being drafted. Joking. You actually thought there was going to be footage of Bill Russell
honestly thought there might be, to be honest.
Drafted 600 years ago. But for real though, not only was that offseason one of the most important in NBA history, that season was too, and here's why. To end the season, Celtics guard Bob Cousy took home the second annual NBA MVP.
This is the thing, though. Bill Russell played with Bob Cousy, the MVP of the league. Obviously, he's going to win championships.
A few more months, and the Celtics found themselves in the finals against the Hawks. The first MVP versus the second. Bob Pettit versus Bob Cousy. And in 7, the Celtics took home their first NBA championship, the beginning of the Bill Russell dynasty. But although they'd have that ridiculous championship run, they wouldn't win the next season. Bob Pettit took home his one career championship. But want to know how different basketball was than it is now? In 1959, dribbling was introduced. Yes.
It's crazy that Bob Pettit played without dribbling. No wonder he was so good. Wait, how did Bob Cousy win the MVP without dribbling? What? Isn't he a point guard?
Dribbling. The ball wasn't allowed to touch the floor unless it was a bounce pass back then. But with dribbling, the game was changing, and two guys who were really good at dribbling, Bill Russell and Bob Cousy, Real quick though, I don't care if you're 5, 20, or 60 years old. If you don't love Bill Russell, you're not a basketball fan.
I would kick your ass.
I ain't gonna lie. Maybe in real life, but in basketball terms, overrated. You're not even a hooper, Bill.
Guy's a legend. But this season as well, there was a new team emerging. And that was because of one guy, Elgin Baylor, one of the league's all-time buckets. Even though I might drop 90 on Bob Pettit's head, I mean, he literally didn't dribble to start his career. Elgin Baylor is giving me the work. Joking. Bob Pettit's like 6'9". I'm 5'11" on a good day. Like an extremely good day. But anyway, in the season Bob Pettit got his second MVP, the Celtics got their second championship, the start of a really ridiculous championship run. If you know, you know. If you don't, well, you'll see in a minute. But we gotta look at the next...
It's not fair though, their team was literally stacked.
Offseason though, but something really important in NBA history happened. This guy was drafted, Will Chamberlain.
My
I don't know if you know
GOAT!
anything about Will Chamberlain? Well, in a nutshell, he was really good at basketball.
The GOAT.
But he was only 5'11".
I'm taller than everybody that comes on this show. Then you've just thrown the whole curve off. How tall are you exactly?
5'11 and a half.
Oh,
No,
now
really.
I'm really depressed.
It's a big half. That last half is a big half.
Will was drafted to the Philadelphia
That's
Warriors.
crazy.
If you're curious how good his rookie season was, he averaged 37.6 points and 27 rebounds in his rookie season. And he won MVP.
You want to know what's crazy? It only got better from there.
But although he had a great individual talent, the Celtics were still the best team in the league.
By far, they had the most talent. What? It
And
wasn't
they won
even
their
close.
second ring in a row, but the league was changing at this point. The Minneapolis Lakers moved to Los Angeles. There were some
If he calls it Minneapolis one more time, I'm going to lose my mind.
exciting players in the NBA. Will Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor, Oscar Robertson, everyone on the Celtics. The Lakers just drafted a guy named Jerry West. They really made a whole guy after the logo. Bad joke. On a real note though, I didn't know Oscar Robertson and Jerry West were in the same draft class. How do we never bring that up when we talk about the best draft classes?
That's crazy.
1960 NBA draft. Oscar Robertson,
Big
Jerry
O in
West.
the logo.
Bro, and
That's
then
hard.
Daryl Imhoff. I don't know who Daryl Imhoff is.
Imagine being him.
5 points per game. Plumber stats.
Yikes.
But Oscar Robertson would go on to take home the Rookie of the Year. Bill Russell won his second MVP, and the Boston Celtics won their third straight championship.
They clinched the series 4 games to 1 with a winning score of 121 to 112. Watch Cousy stop exhausted as the final buzzer sounds. The price of the all-out play that brings the Celtics their third straight title.
Bro, number 15 just ran off the court. The rest of them wanted to celebrate. Is that
But now in
Heinsohn?
1962,
Tom
in my
Heinsohn?
opinion, the most impressive single season in NBA history, Will Chamberlain, he averaged 50.4
It's because he's the GOAT. I don't understand what's so hard to understand. He's the GOAT. He's the best player of all time.
points per game. Yes, you heard that right. 50.4, 25.7 rebounds. But the most impressive
They didn't even record the block stat back then either.
number, he averaged 48.5 minutes per game. There's only 48 minutes in a basketball game. He played every single game plus overtime and others. Absolutely absurd.
Look
a
at
record
him.
I guarantee
Look
will
at
never be
Wilt.
broken. And although he did all that this season, we gotta look at one day specifically. That would be March 2nd, 1962. Against the New York Knicks,
100.
you know what happened. Will Chamberlain scored 100 points. There's no footage of the game, but there is radio coverage of it. I'll play it.
It's the facts.
If you want to skip over it, right here's the number on the screen is the timestamp it ends at, but here it is.
With the ball down the right side, passes to Chamberlain. He's open. He shoots. He scores.
I listened to this in another video, so I'm gonna skip it.
7 to 146.
At least most of it.
Found somebody quick. Rogers throws long to Chamberlain. He's got it. He's trying to get up. He shoots. No good. The rebound, Luckenbill. Back to Chamberlain. He shoots up. No good. In and out. The rebound, Luckenbill. Back to Rucklick. Into Chamberlain. He made it.
They were just feeding him the rock. I would have done the same.
He made it. A zipper dunk. He made it. 100 points to Will Chamberlain. He stops the game. People are crowding, pounding him, banging him. The Warrior players are all over him. Fans are coming out of the stands.
Fans are on the court.
Second breath. The most amazing scoring performance of all time. 100 points for the
If y'all think that didn't happen, I don't know what to tell you.
Although Wilt did all that, there were other records being broken. The first triple-double average in an NBA season, Oscar Robertson.
Impressive.
And even though Wilt and Robertson did all that, Bill Russell still won MVP, and the Celtics kept rolling.
How did Bill Russell win MVP this year? You tell me. You tell me. Wilt averaged what, 50 and 30? The NBA was rigged for Bill Russell.
Their fourth straight championship, and then they'd win their fifth after that, and then a sixth versus the newly moved San Francisco Warriors. And the season after that, the San Francisco Warriors felt they reached their peak with Wilt Chamberlain, and they shipped them to Philadelphia. Well, not the Philadelphia Warriors anymore, but the Philadelphia 76ers. Here's an ESPN Classics on the Wilt trade.
In 1962, the Warriors moved to San Francisco, where for the next 2.5 seasons, Chamberlain stayed atop the scoring and rebounding chart.
Because he's the GOAT.
Meanwhile, the Syracuse Nationals moved to Philadelphia and were renamed the 76ers. In January of 1965, Wilt would resume his on-again, off-again relationship with the city of brotherly love.
When the trade was made to bring him back to Philadelphia from San Francisco, I mean, the media just went crazy. I mean, he was like, for a couple of weeks, it was the #1 front page story.
He should be. He's the greatest player of all time.
In the city.
So are you happy or sad about it? Mixed emotions. Actually, I'll be like Tony Bennett leaving my heart here in San Francisco because I fell in love with the city.
Although Wilt was now in the Boston Celtics division, it didn't matter for the Celtics. They found themselves back in the NBA Finals. But to get to the Finals, we had one of the greatest calls in NBA history. In Game 7 in the 1965 Eastern Conference Finals,
he was so
Celtics
good.
vs. Sixers, John Havlicek did this.
Boston only has a 1-point lead. Greer's putting the ball on a play. He gets it out deep, and Havlicek steals it. Over to Sam Jones. Havlicek stole the ball. It's all over. It's all over. Johnny Havlicek is being mobbed by the fans. Bill Russell wants to grab Havlicek. He hugged.
I wish nowadays, when a team won the NBA championship, we could storm the court. That would be awesome.
He squeezes John Havlicek. The Celtics win it. 1-10.
Havlicek stole the ball. Of course, the Celtics would win their 7th straight championship, and then they'd won their 8th after that, again, defeating the Lakers in the finals.
Look, they have John Havlicek, Sam Jones. Do they still have Bob Cousy at this point? Of course, Bill Russell had how many rings? I'd had that many rings.
8 championships in a row, 9th championship in 10 years.
That's it. The game is over, and John Havlicek is running for his life. And Bill Russell.
8 straight World Championships certainly is an unbelievable feat.
But for real though, that offseason, we got a new NBA team. It's one you might have heard before. The Chicago Bulls out of, well, Chicago.
67 was when the Bulls were
Wilt Chamberlain was having so much success for himself. I mean, he won another MVP this season. The thing is, he couldn't get past the Celtics in the playoffs though. That's until he met them in the conference finals this season, 4-1 Sixers. The finals, Wilt Chamberlain versus old team, the Warriors. 4-2 Sixers, Wilt Chamberlain wins his first NBA championship.
But Chamberlain,
my GOAT, finally gets in a winning column. But again, what is he supposed to do against Bill Russell, Sam Jones, John Havlicek? You win versus those guys. Good luck.
the Big Dipper makes the big difference. The Warriors had a 6-point lead at the half and still led by 5 into the final.
Is that
period.
Nate Thurman?
He was scoring on Chamberlain's height by lobbing shots over him. But Philadelphia, uncorking behind-the-back passes, shows flash and accuracy, with Cunningham netting 10 points in the final frame.
Billy Cunningham? He was going crazy.
The 76ers win by 3 points. The glory and the NBA title, all theirs.
Did ChatGPT just commentate that game? But for real though, finally, Wilt Chamberlain wins the championship he so desperately coveted. Shout out Mike Breen. But the NBA was really growing at this point, like really fast. I mean, already 2 more expansion teams this offseason once again, the Seattle Supersonics and the San Diego Rockets.
The San Diego Rockets, wow.
Now a 12-team league, for the first time this season, played an 82-game season we have nowadays, but also this time, there was another league created, the NBA Competing League, the ABA. And there were NBA stars going to the ABA, guys like Rick Barry, but for the NBA, there was something really special that happened. The Celtics were back in the finals and won their 10th championship. Okay, ready? Question 1, who was the Celtics starting center this season? Obviously, Bill Russell. Question 2 though, who was the Celtics head coach this season? Well, it was Bill Russell. The guy won a championship as a player coach.
That's what, and I know the Lakers aren't, but that's what Bron should do for the Lakers. That would be fire, I think.
And the funniest part, he didn't sub himself out the entire finals. Honestly, I can't even blame him. That's hilarious.
I wouldn't either.
But heading into the offseason, Wilt Chamberlain, coming off an MVP season, he was traded once again. This time to the Los Angeles Lakers, the Boston Celtics rival team. And now you have the 2 best centers in the NBA on rival squads. But when I talk about the best centers in the NBA this season, I can't leave out Wes Unseld from the Washington Bullets.
Big Wes!
The guy won MVP in his rookie season. And for the NBA...
It's crazy with Wilt and Bill Russell. Now, I know they were older, but that's still crazy.
Overall, there were 2 more expansion teams once again. This time, the Phoenix Suns and Milwaukee Bucks. I just realized that they played each other in the finals a couple years ago and came into the league in the same season. Kind of crazy.
That is kind of
cool.
cool.
We did get a Lakers-Celtics Russell Chamberlain finals matchup, which included this Sam Jones game winner in Game 4.
The Lakers have a point lead with 7 seconds. Nelson comes in and Bill Russell goes out. Russell goes out of the game. And
wow, Bill Russell gets benched down the stretch for the lack of offense. That don't fit my GOAT narrative. Y'all tell me.
Nelson will play center. How will they run it? Let's see.
Bro, the ref just threw the ball to the wrong guy.
And Nelson will play center. How will they run it? Let's see. It goes out of bounds, and it comes into Havlicek. The clock
is going
moving. 5 seconds. To Sam. His 20-foot jumper. Good. 1 second.
No way that went in, bro.
Sam. His 20-foot jumper. Good.
That's so sad. That should not have went in. That's sad. Will should have won a ring.
Well, the Celtics of course end up winning their 11th championship, but Jerry West was actually the finals MVP, the only finals MVP ever from a losing team. Honestly, if I was Jerry West, I wouldn't even want that. But just 3 months after winning...
That's crazy though. But again, the Celtics were so good.
Championship once again, Bill Russell announced his retirement. 13 seasons, 11 championships, one of the greatest players that ever played the game of basketball. And now that Russell was retired, the league was once again...
I ain't gonna lie, Bill Russell looked like a freak.
For anyone.
He looked like a freak, man. He moving with the ball.
And that leads us to the 1969-1970 season. The expansion team from last year, they now have this new rookie. I think his name is
Big
like
Ring
or something. I think he's pretty good. But as the Celtics record plummeted without Russell, there was a new team in the East on the rise.
Willis Reed?
That's the New York Knicks. And the Knicks found themselves in the finals this season versus Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, and the
And look, Will gets so much hate. Look at where he's at. He's always up there near the top because he's the GOAT.
Los Angeles Lakers. And on a broken leg in Game 7, not one person thought he was going to play, but Willis Reed came back and Madison Square Garden erupted.
I think we see Willis coming out. Here comes Willis. And the crowd is going wild. Arnett to Reed on the forecourt. Right side.
On a broken leg?
From 20 jumps. Yes. Willis has hit on his first 2. He bullets one down court. That is intercepted by the Busher. Fast break for the next. The Busher on the drive. Leads Reardon. Driving shot is good.
The Knicks would go on to win the championship and bring the first ring to New York, but although the Knicks had Walt Frazier and Willis Reed...
Look at how close Wilt got constantly, man. That's sad.
There was a new duo in the East that just formed, Oscar Robertson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
That's a tough
and of
duo,
course,
man.
Who's stopping them? They went on to win the 71 championship, and then we had a rematch in Knicks-Lakers the following year, and finally, after years, Jerry West got that ring after losing in like 1,200 finals. So after losing, the Knicks
and so did Wilt.
They needed to add a little more to take home a second championship, and that's when they added Earl Monroe to the squad. And of course, Walt Frazier, Earl Monroe, Willis Reed, no one's stopping that.
That team is tough. Oh my gosh.
And another Knicks-Lakers rematch. The Knicks won their second ring in 4 years, and after losing the championship for the 3rd time, Wilt Chamberlain called it a career in '73, and that was it. The 2 greatest NBA players of all time at the time were officially retired.
It's just sad because, like, Wilt was up against Thanos constantly, man. What is he supposed to do? He's up against Sam Jones, Hondo, Bob Cousy.
Like a barbershop or any place where fans gathered, they always debated one question. Who was better, Bill Russell or Wilt Chamberlain? Now, as a fan, I've been contemplating that argument my entire life. There's no way to decide because they were both such great players, and we're honored to have them with us today. Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain.
You didn't say that. You distinctly said that you thought that I had the edge. Because they were so good and he was so good that you wanted to be able to do good enough that at least you can come and say, well, at least I got 40. You know, say, well, at least I got 30. We only lost about 20, but at least I got 40. So I kind of did my job. You know, so, you know, but I can remember.
Literally, though, you're up against the best team. What are you supposed to do?
When I used to shoot a hook shot on Bill right here, he would go, are you kidding me? Like I wasn't supposed to take a hook shot, you know, instead of have or whatever.
I took about 8 more of those, okay.
Were you friends?
Yes.
Very much.
See, I was a couple of years ahead of him. When I was a senior, he was a freshman. And in those days, the NBA was really an extended family.
I mean, he'd come past my house on Thanksgiving because we played Philly, Boston all the time, sleep in my bed, eat the food, sleep in my bed, and go out there and whip my butt. You understand? And my mother would say, no, Will, we shouldn't feed Bill so well the next time.
Man, I wish the NBA could go back to this. Imagine Luka sleeping in Jason Tatum. Like, okay, that. Anyway.
So, I mean, but that's the way it was.
Bill Russell's laugh is so funny, man. But it wasn't just Russell and Chamberlain. The next season would be the final seasons for Jerry West and Oscar Robertson as well. So we were entering a new era in the NBA.
And it's Reams
Kareem
era.
Abdul-Jabbar
It's Reams era.
But although Kareem took home the MVP this season, the Celtics weren't letting the league change yet. They still had John Havlicek, and in 7 games, they beat...
So let me tell you something. Even without Bill Russell, the Celtics were still this good. So just telling you why Bill Russell won so many rings.
The Milwaukee Bucks in the finals. Okay, so now no Russell, Chamberlain, Oscar, or Jerry West, and Rick Barry back in the NBA. And because that's the case, the NBA Finals in 1975 had 2 new characters unlocked. People we haven't talked about yet, the Warriors and the Bullets. Rick Barry...
Is that Elvin Hayes?
No. And this wasn't even close. The Warriors swept. And the next season, the Milwaukee Bucks did something extremely stupid. They traded Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Sometime tomorrow, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar will officially become a member of the Los Angeles Lakers. Confirming our exclusive report here of 16 days ago, the Lakers will announce that they have acquired the 28-year-old former UCLA star in exchange for center Elmore Smith, forward guard Brian Winters, and Los Angeles' top 2 draft choices of this year, UCLA's David Myers and Junior Bridgman of Louisville.
For Kareem? That's it?
The holdup in the contract talks was the one involving Dave Myers. He's represented by Larry Fleischer, who's the head of the NBA Players Association. Fleischer has finally worked out a deal.
Man, the Bucks, I would never be a Bucks fan again after this.
That will pay Myers $1.5 million over the next 5 years and provide a no-cut contract as well. The players in the NBA, especially the forwards, are going to be very upset to learn that Mr. Fleischer is now involved in that kind of a deal when players like Rick Barry and Bob Love, for instance, aren't making that kind of money. The Lakers lost 52 of 82 games.
Rick Barry wasn't making $300,000 a year back then, and he was that good? Bob Love, too. Tough.
This past season, and to come back, the front office believes they need a superstar like Jabbar to get them started.
What a terrible package, man. I mean, at least if you're going to trade him, get back...
That's what I'm saying. I was like, a bunch of draft picks. I mean, what do we do?
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and 1,000 draft picks. And guess what? Kareem won MVP this season. I'm sure the Bucks instantly regretted that, but it didn't really matter because once again, the Boston Celtics won the NBA championship. But the following
Celtics were just so good.
This is where the NBA would change forever. The rivalry.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm not ever rooting on the Celtics anymore. They've won way too much, dude. I'm team Mavs right now. I'm team whoever the Celtics play for the future.
League I was talking about earlier, well, it fell apart, and a bunch of those teams joined the NBA. Some teams you know today: the Nets, at the time the New York Nets, the Indiana Pacers, the Denver Nuggets, and the San Antonio Spurs. And that's where Dr. J would become a Philadelphia 76er. But now we were looking at a 22-team league, a rapidly expanding league, and out of those 22 teams, the one team no one was talking about was the Portland Trailblazers.
Bill Walton, man. Bill Walton. Prime Bill Walton, man. Before injuries,
I mean,
was so good.
They sucked. But in 1977, they exploded. And they went on to win their first championship, led by legendary commentator Bill Walton.
Bill Walton.
A true professional yapper.
Rest in peace, man. He is a professional yapper, but that's what made those Pac-12 late at night broadcasts so much fun.
The way it usually does when Huskies and bears get together. You ever seen Huskies and bears fight? Because usually what happens when that happens is that the dogs come in and they nip and tuck around the bears who just kind of stand there and look around, and then eventually the bears get tired of these little antagonistic Huskies. So the bears, they just come and they just smash the Huskies.
Like, bro, what?
And that's what's happened right now. What are you talking about? I'm talking about bears and Huskies, the matchup that we have tonight. And did you know that grizzly bears, which used to be predominant here in Southern California, they left millenniums ago.
He is a professional yapper, though, for sure. But I loved his broadcast as much as anybody else.
A long time ago. But in 1933,
is this prime Markel Fultz? No.
Where's Markel Fultz? They brought 27 bears from Yosemite to Los Angeles. And ever since, the San Gabriels and the San Bernardino Mountains, they've got a significant bear population.
A fascinating story. Meanwhile, Thomas Welsh
is more
a fascinating story.
Fascinating than those timeouts. More fascinating than that foul.
That's the first.
I need someone to explain that story to me, please. Well, Bill Walton would actually go on to win the MVP next season, but the Blazers got eliminated in the second round, and that left us with a Washington vs. Seattle finals matchup. The Wizards took it in 7, but now we're in a new era, because that offseason, this happened.
Now the Boston Celtics made history today, signing Larry Bird, the college All-American from French Lick, Indiana. The new instant millionaire is a...
Why does Boston just get the best signees, the best draft picks, the best everything? How does that happen? I'm just confused.
6'9" basketball player from Indiana State. Bird's starting pay will be $650,000 a year. Sports director Roger Twibell has more details on the signing and the reaction it spawned.
We're getting to the more exciting times. Larry Bird's now in the NBA, but the Celtics weren't threats yet. Larry Bird didn't play that season. And for the first time, in 1979, the Seattle Supersonics won an NBA championship.
Who played for them? Spencer Haywood?
But that brings us to the 97-80 season.
I want to know who played for him back then.
Larry Bird was ready to play in the league, and other than Larry Bird, there was another rookie taking over the league.
On the eve of his very first game.
Magic versus Larry era. See, this is crazy because you have all these different eras, man. It's fire.
Upon any rookie in all of professional sports to talk to you. But I want you to know that this man has a smile that lights up a television screen from here to Bangor, Maine. His name is Magic Johnson.
He really do, man.
It's a delight to have you aboard in the NBA.
Thank you. I'm very excited to start my first game, and I think our team is ready, and it's going to be a great season for the Los Angeles Lakers.
But besides Larry and Magic joining, there was an even more major factor this season, the three-point line. It was added to the NBA for the first time, but this season, the Lakers advanced to the finals. Kareem actually got hurt in the finals, and Lakers point guard rookie Magic Johnson was the starting center in the NBA finals.
I remember that. That's crazy, though, go from point guard to center.
And of course,
I say I remember that like I was there. Like, I remember hearing of it and
the Lakers beat the Sixers in 6, and Magic Johnson won finals MVP in his rookie season, but that was just the beginning of the Magic Bird era. That offseason, the Celtics traded for Robert Parrish and drafted Kevin McHale, and you know what that means. 1981.
The Celtics are just too much, man.
Celtics, NBA champions, plus Larry Bird had one of the greatest shots ever in the finals.
Then this, an absolutely breathtaking flying follow-up of his own missed 20-footer by who else? Larry Bird.
This is... Look where he... Nah. Larry Bird was cheating. Larry Bird had to be cheating. Like, what am I watching?
Red Auerbach called this the greatest play I've ever seen.
I want the ball because I'm supposed to produce in situations. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, but I want the ball in a crucial situation.
This was crazy. He's behind the backboard.
Although the Celtics were a powerhouse, so were the Lakers. And the Lakers came right back and won the 82 championship, Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul adding to their ring collection. But that offseason, the already multiple-time MVP, Moses Malone, he was heading into free agency, and the 76ers saw their chance to find Dr. J his running mate, and that's...
I ain't got a lot of NBA back then was fire, man. You had Moses, Dr. J, you had the Lakers, I think with what, Magic Reem, you had the Celtics. Like,
exactly what they did.
It's tough.
Dr. J and Moses Malone were a new duo formed in Philly, and with 56 wins, a third MVP now for Moses Malone, the 76ers swept the Lakers in the championship to give Dr. J his first NBA championship.
That's tough.
Low-key, one of the best NBA teams ever, the 83 Philadelphia 76ers. If you know both, you know. But the next season is where we saw a rule change.
Moses put up some huge numbers, man.
He's still used today. 8 teams per conference in the playoffs, no more first-round buys for the top teams. This ain't the NFL, but these were best of 5
I
seasons.
low-key, and this is me, I low-key wish there was some way to reward the top teams. Because why is it now that you get a 2 seed and you meet this great 7 seed and that comes out of the play-in game? It's crazy. There needs to be something. I don't know what the answer is, but there needs to be something. Maybe you go 10-team playoffs and 1 and 2 seeds get buys, but then you can't do that either. I don't know, man. I don't know.
We know they're best of 7 today. Well, we'll get to that soon. But also this offseason, Larry O'Brien retired, and taking his place, everyone's favorite commissioner, David Stern, the guy who robbed CP3 of a ring later down the road.
Literally vetoed a trade for no reason.
Joking. Stern was a solid commissioner for the NBA, but an important date in this season, April 5th, 1984, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar passes...
Bro, why is Kareem taking 90 or 15-foot skyhook?
Will Chamberlain to become the league's all-time leading scorer.
Magic look. It says to Kareem, come on down here, big fella, put in a chair. The crowd stands for Kareem to get the ball. Everybody's waving their arms. It's in the Kareem.
Zoom out the camera a little bit.
Left, right hand, 12-footer, good!
Look at Kareem just going about his business.
They love their captain. They love their leader. And suffice to say, ladies and gentlemen, the new king of scoring has ascended his throne.
That's fire.
His mama, his father. What an emotional...
Good for Kareem, man. Good. That's awesome, man. Good for Kareem.
The shot that I dreamed about for 3 weeks that he would make, the hook shot. This man has accomplished something that I don't believe, and I mean this sincerely, I don't think this will ever happen again.
I mean, at the time, it's valid, but...
The Lakers were good this season, but so were the Celtics, and for the first time in this season, Magic Johnson and Larry Bird met in the NBA Finals. The Celtics won at 7, and Larry Bird tied it at 2 rings apiece for him and Magic. They've each been in the league for 5 years, and each have 2 rings. That's just stupid. But that offseason...
The Celtics-Lakers rivalry is crazy.
We talked about the most important moments so far, but there is none more important than this.
Bro, why is Danny Ainge mad about a hook, bro? Danny Ainge, watch number 44. He mad about a hook. That's a good move.
But
why
there
are you
is
crying
none
to the
more
ref?
important than this.
The Chicago Bulls pick Michael Jordan of the
The
University
GOAT.
of North Carolina.
Outside of Wilt.
The next pick goes to the Dallas Mavericks.
So Michael Jordan, who right now is in Bloomington getting ready for the upcoming Olympics, and this man is a can't miss at whether a guard spot or the forward at 6'6", 195 pounds.
MJ's
Comes out
tough,
after his
man.
Junior season from North Carolina.
And you know, he makes them when they count. He can do it in traffic. He can do it under tremendous control.
Look at the
He's a great,
athleticism,
great
man.
creator. In the mold of a Dr. J. Not as big, but he's in that class, and I think he's going to make a great player. He's what you call the people's player. People love to see this young man perform, and he's going to help my boy Kevin Lockyer an awful lot out there.
And there's no question that Michael Jordan will step right in. He is star material, a great shooter, superb athletic ability.
He shot 55% from the field. 2 assists is kind of a crazy number.
Many teams are trying to pry away that 3rd pick and Michael Jordan from Chicago, but Jordan now joins.
Thank gosh it didn't trade it.
In Chicago.
Michael Jordan is officially in the NBA now, and that was a stacked draft class too. Hakeem, Stockton, Barkley, Jordan. I mean, doesn't get much better than that.
That is stacked.
Also that offseason though, the Clippers moved from San Diego to Los Angeles to join the Lakers, but the Lakers were a powerhouse still, and we got a Lakers-Celtics final matchup again.
Look at Kurt
This time, though,
Rambis.
the Lakers won it, and for the 2nd time in NBA history, the Celtics lost in the finals.
The Lakers are winning it. 3 in 6 years.
On Boston's home court.
LA comes to Boston and wins the world title.
That offseason, the Kings relocated to Sacramento, the draft lottery system was implemented, and you know they froze those Knicks envelopes for Patrick Ewing.
Bro, the whole draft lottery, it seems so sus with how they did it back then, man.
And a 5'7" guy won the dunk
It's
contest.
so sus. Look at Spud Webb.
But for
We
the
need,
elite
do we have any 5'7" guys around now that can get up like that? Anyone?
teams, it was still the Celtics.
Make it more
and
fun.
The Celtics found themselves matched up with a new opponent in the finals this time. sophomore Hakeem Olajuwon and the Houston Rockets. Well, ultimately, the Celtics took it in 6, but the next season, we were entering a new time frame. The Michael Jordan timeline was starting, and he averaged 37.1 points per game this season.
That's like Harden and Luka numbers now, and back then it wasn't nearly as easy.
But as great as MJ was, it was still the Lakers and Celtics league, and they found themselves matched up in the finals once again, ending with one of the most legendary plays of all time.
In the game's final moments, Johnson would find himself not only with the ball, but also with the chance to put an end to the decade's most compelling rivalry.
To the left goes Magic. He's got it.
Kevin McHale.
5 seconds left. Magic down the middle, just what I thought. A hook shot at 12.
The Lakers were a powerhouse, so much so, they went back-to-back, winning it all again in '88 in a 7-game series with the Pistons, and the season after that, 2 more teams were added to the NBA.
Magic, I don't know. He looked tough to me,
the
man.
Charlotte Hornets and the Miami Heat. But again, we had a Pistons-Lakers finals matchup. This time, it was a sweep in the Pistons' favor.
Look
the
at the
Detroit Pistons,
man.
Isaiah Thomas, and the rest of the squad won their first NBA championship. But right after getting swept, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar called it a career. The NBA's all-time leading scorer,
man, he had a great career. Nobody can even hate, man.
MVP, a 6-time champion. The guy most people saw as the greatest ever at this point in time. And also that offseason,
I still think Wilt, but
2 more teams, the Minnesota Timberwolves and
look at the Wolves! Wolves!
Orlando Magic. But the Pistons were still the league's powerhouse. They found themselves matched up against the Trailblazers in the finals. 4-1, Detroit Pistons.
90-90, game 5 of the finals. Gets it into Isaiah with 19. Isaiah taking his
Terry
time,
Porter.
directing traffic. They spread things out along the baseline. Isaiah watching that clock work down with 10. Isaiah's going to go one-on-one on Porter. A little shake and bake. Right side pass to Vinny Johnson.
Is that Dick Vitale?
Against Kersey. Vinny puts up a 14-footer.
It's unbelievable, George, that shot. What guts? What guts?
It's 92-90.
Knocked it down.
The microwave scores with 0.7 seconds left in the game.
The Microwave. Never heard that name before. But it's now 1991. It's officially the Michael Jordan era. Winning his 4th straight scoring title, already an NBA MVP, then fast forward to the NBA.
It's crazy though how much talent is in the league right now. Like, it's insane to me.
Finals, we got one of the greatest matchups in finals history. Michael Jordan versus Magic Johnson. And of course, the Bulls won it in 5, and Michael Jordan won his first NBA championship.
Look at Anthony Edwards' dad, man.
The Bulls greeted by a portion of this foreign crowd as they try to get back to their locker room. For the Lakers, a different story.
Here we are with Michael, surrounded by his mom and his dad. And wife, under the hat, that wasn't fair, but I'm covered with shit.
No way he called the wife his mom! This guy better have lost his job. I mean, you can't do that!
Campaign I can hardly see. Michael, what does it mean to you?
It means so much. I mean, not just for me, but for the team and for the whole city. It's been a 7-year struggle. I mean, when I first got into Chicago, we started at the bottom, and every year we just worked harder and harder until we got to it. And you know, it's so gratifying. You know, I'm appreciated so long in my life. You know, for my family, for my kids, everything. It's the most proud day I've ever had.
We read that when they broached the subject of the "I'm going to Disney World" commercial to you, you said only if all my teammates are involved.
Yeah, I wanted that to happen. You know, for them. You know, they deserve it. Whatever I get, whatever financial situation I get from that, I'm gonna spread it amongst the team. I didn't want it.
Look at MJ, man.
The team to have it. I want everybody to prosper from this whole event. You know, it took a team to get to this point.
Is there a sense of completeness and fulfillment for you now that might not have been there for all your other achievements before?
Well, I wanted to get here. If I never got here, I would never have been disappointed about my career. But you know, it caps it off. You know, it means a lot to me. It means a lot to the city. I'm just happy.
And that was the first of many
that I was able to be a part of history in the city of Chicago.
But right after losing in the finals, Magic Johnson found that he had AIDS, and he had to immediately retire from basketball. News that has shocked the whole world.
Because of the HIV virus that I have attained, I will have to retire from the Lakers today.
But on the court,
that stinks, bro. Like, honestly, that genuinely just, imagine in that moment, like, that just stinks, bro.
Of course,
that stinks.
It was still the Chicago Bulls dominating the NBA and winning their second straight championship, and then their third straight in the first NBA season with Larry Bird now retired, and the finals win against the Suns completed the three-peat for Michael Jordan. But as we all know, right after winning 3 in a row, Michael Jordan announced his NBA retirement.
I think,
like, for what? You're in your prime, you're at your peak. MJ, if you would have never retired, man, if MJ would have never retired, the GOAT conversation wouldn't even be a thing. It wouldn't be a thing. I promise you, it wouldn't be a thing.
Everyone knows exactly what the circumstances are right now in terms of my decision not to play the game of basketball in the NBA. Doesn't mean I'm not going to play basketball somewhere else, but I've talked to all my confidants, my family, my friends, as Jerry has just informed you, to the organization. I even talked to David Stern as of yesterday and even today, and I'm very solid with my decision of not to play the game of basketball in the NBA. Reasoning being, I've heard a lot of different speculations about my reasons for not playing, but I've always stressed to people that have known me and the media that has followed me that when I lose the sense of motivation and the sense of to prove something as a basketball player, it's time for me to move away from the game of basketball. It's not because I don't love the game. I love the game of basketball, I always will. I just feel that at this particular time in my career, I've reached the pinnacle of my career.
Yeah, it's too easy for him, man. He need a new challenge. It's too easy.
I've achieved a lot in that short amount of time, if you want to call it short. But I just feel that I don't have anything else for myself to prove.
I'm not going to get too into this. There's a lot of people who say this was a punishment for the league for gambling.
No, it was not. No, it was not.
Jor Gamble, as Twitter trolls call it.
Why would the NBA want MJ out the league? That makes no sense.
But now with Michael Jordan retired, it was anyone's league. And the guy who took complete control of that, Hakeem Olajuwon, winning MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and his
it's crazy because Hakeem made it to the finals before MJ's
first NBA championship all in the same season. But for some reason, the next season, the Rockets didn't look that good to start off the season. That was until they traded for Clyde Drexler. Oh yeah, and guess who's back?
The Glide. That's crazy. Like, he went back to Chicago too.
Guess baseball wasn't really your thing, MJ. But Jordan was still a little rusty, and Hakeem and Drexler were fully clicking, and that's where they met Shaquille O'Neal and the Orlando Magic in the NBA Finals. But for the Rockets, a 4-0 sweep for their second championship in a row.
Damn, Shaq, you got swept! Damn, so Shaq, never mind. I don't want to start the Shaq slander yet. Let me sip my coffee. That's almost empty.
But the NBA was still expanding. This time, 2 new Canadian teams, the Toronto Raptors and Vancouver Grizzlies. That season, Hakeem became the all-time leader in blocks, Stockton in assists and steals. Magic Johnson came back and played a few games for the Lakers. But the Bulls, 72-10, he won his 8th scoring title. He won MVP again.
72-10. Meanwhile, later on in his career, after he'd already retired, like, come on, MJ.
Ran through the playoffs, winning their 4th championship in 6 seasons. That offseason, though, after the Bulls' 4th ring, there was a really important draft class. Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, Ray Allen, and oh yeah, this guy.
With the 13th pick in the 1996 NBA Draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Kobe Bryant from Lower Merion High.
That's crazy. The 13th pick, Kobe? Man, that's crazy.
Pennsylvania.
That's crazy.
But the Hornets stupidly did something and traded Kobe to the Lakers. And the Lakers also did this.
Simple economic theory. If there is demand for a product, the price of the product goes up. If a bidding war ensues, the price of the product goes way, way up. And that brings us to Shaquille O'Neal. Orlando wants him. The Lakers want him. The Tampa Tribune reports that Shaq turned down a 7-year, $119 million deal from the Magic, and ESPN has learned that the Lakers can now offer Shaq over $120 million. Lakers GM Jerry West is set to meet tonight with Shaq's agent, Leonard Armato.
Damn, Shaq, before Kobe, you couldn't win.
Shaquille O'Neal will end up making more money than Alonzo Mourning and Juwan Howard, but at this rate, he could be making their salaries combined. The Tampa Tribune reports the Lakers are now prepared to offer O'Neal a 7-year deal worth just over $117 million. And they could go as high as $140 million if they renounce the rights to Eldon Campbell. Laker GM Jerry West met with Shaq's agent Wednesday in Atlanta. O'Neal, in Atlanta with the Dream Team, of course, says of his choice between L.A. and Orlando, quote, "It's like two girlfriends, and you want to marry both of them." We'll find out.
Dog, Shaq, come on, man. Come on, man.
Soon, which team will get stood up at
the man.
Well, the Magic got stood up. And Shaq would, of course, sign with the L.A. Lakers. But as much as the Lakers added, it was still Michael Jordan's league. His 5th championship. This time, beating the Utah.
That's crazy. Like, Shaq and I guess it's younger Kobe years, but I mean, MJ just ran the league, huh?
And in Game 5, Jordan went off with what we call the flu game, or what we should call the expired pizza game.
And he did it in casual form. You get the idea he's having difficulty just standing up.
Although he's playing, he's unbelievable. But as soon as there's a stoppage in play, he's coming over to the bench for a timeout, he's just like, oh, and he drops.
But right after the Bulls' 5th championship,
Timmy
D unlocked a new important character.
With the first pick in the 1997 NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Tim Duncan from Wake Forest.
Timmy D.
Tim Duncan is now...
Hey, was he with CP during that? No way, right? Probably. No. It kind of looked like him, but no way.
A member of the San Antonio Spurs, joining David Robinson, but to the finals. Another Bulls-Jazz matchup, and I'm sure you know how this one ended.
Jordan a drive.
I feel bad for the Jazz.
Fires. Yes! The Bulls lead 87-86.
The Bulls win their 6th straight championship, their 2nd three-peat, and 6th ring in 8 years. But unfortunately for the Bulls, and fortunately for the rest of the NBA, that was it for the Bulls. This was the end of their dynasty because once again, Michael Jordan will retire. That time on a good note though. And the guy I mentioned earlier, Tim Duncan.
That's crazy though. MJ, when he was around, literally ran the league.
Saw this as an opportunity for the Spurs. And he was right. The Spurs beat the first ever 8 seed to reach the finals, the New York Knicks, in a 5-game series to give them their first ever championship. But once again, we were in a new era, the Shaq and Kobe era. With Shaq fully healthy for the first time in almost 5 years, there was no one stopping the Lakers.
Look at how big Shaq is.
MVP, and the Lakers won the NBA championship, being
he is huge,
giving Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant their first championship each.
Rimming the court, fans and media both.
Literally, what am I watching on here?
Jackson looking to throw it in against Shaq. Reggie turns and pumps it up off the rim, and the Lakers are the 2000 NBA champions.
Once again, the Lakers found themselves in the finals in 2001, this time matched up against the league's MVP, Allen Iverson, and the Philadelphia 76ers.
AI made it to the finals this early?
The Sixers stood no chance though. They lost 4-1.
I mean...
But that offseason, well, guess who's back? Again.
From North Carolina.
MJ just could never get enough, huh?
23, Michael Jordan.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, imagine if MJ never would have retired at all.
Michael Jordan's back, and this time it's with the Washington Wizards. The Vancouver Grizzlies also relocated. They were headed to Memphis, but come on, it was still the Lakers league. And Shaq and Kobe three-peated, this time beating the Nets in 4, a series that was never even close. This offseason, another relocation.
You have Shaq and Kobe though, that duo is ridiculous.
The Hornets were headed to New Orleans, and the guy that I mentioned earlier, Tim Duncan, well, he won his 2nd MVP this season. Oh yeah, he also won his 2nd championship too. And right after winning another ring, David Robinson called it a career. And now it was officially Tim Duncan's San Antonio Spurs. But when we talk about the most important moments in the league's history, this offseason has to be up there with the top of all time.
With the first pick,
Big Bron! Hey, Bron!
In the 2003 NBA draft.
It's crazy because, like, right when MJ was done, here come
the
King.
Cleveland Cavaliers
it's crazy.
Select LeBron James.
Right when MJ's done is when LeBron gets drafted. It's like the NBA scripted all of this.
Okay, so now LeBron James is in the NBA, Dwayne Wayne's in the NBA, Chris Bosh is in the NBA, Carmelo Anthony's in the NBA. All 4 entered in the same year.
That's crazy. And then Braun, Wade, and Bosh, all same draft class, teamed up.
Season,
I didn't even realize that
team
when it happened.
emerging as the top dog. And when I say team,
Detroit.
I mean it. This team legitimately played team basketball. The 2004 Detroit Pistons, a team with Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Chauncey Billups, and Rip Hamilton. And their grittiness.
I liked this team when I was young.
Win them a championship this season. But that offseason, the 30th team was finally part of the NBA, the number that still holds today, the Charlotte Bobcats. Maybe it'd be better if they never joined. Joking. But the Charlotte Bobcats had one of the worst seasons in NBA history. You remember, in 2012. But in 2005, there were a lot of moves this offseason as well.
Look at Steve Nash
found himself in Phoenix, Shaquille O'Neal in Miami, and the Pistons and Pacers got into the worst fight in NBA history.
And again, you know, we cannot
this was kind of
drive
crazy.
This home enough. This is something, you go across the board of the 4 of us here. We've been around a lot of sporting events, all right? Either playing in them or watching them. This is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh, look at Ryan! He throwing hands.
Electronics is kicking in because I just got a beat from Joe, and one of the things he's taking issue with is us sitting up here right now and basically saying that it was justified for those players to go into those stands. He says there's no justification, regardless the fans were wrong, but the players should not exacerbate the situation.
I can't believe that actually happened.
I mean, you can't. You can't go into the stands, but there has to be a point in which if you're in an NBA game, sure you can yell at players, but throwing stuff at players is ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
But no matter what was going on in the NBA, the Spurs were still elite. And so elite, they won the championship once again, giving them their 3rd ring since 1999.
Tim Duncan was really it.
But the trade that the Heat made the previous season for Shaq turned out to work very well. And the Heat found themselves in the 2006 finals in a matchup with Dirk Nowitzki and the Dallas Mavericks. And this time for the Heat, they got their 1st ring in franchise history. And Shaq got his 4th ring in his career.
All right, Shaq, I can't even disrespect you. I was trying to disrespect you, but I can't even hate Shaq.
That was a fun little run for the Heat, because guess who was right back holding the trophies again the next season? Once again, for the 700th time, the San Antonio Spurs.
Man.
They beat LeBron 4-0 in his first finals appearance, but the following offseason was a really important one.
The Spurs were so much better than this Cavs team, though.
The 2007 offseason, well, for starters, because this happened.
With the second
offseason,
look at Tim Duncan. He just got triple teamed, bro.
Starters,
he just got triple teamed. Oh my gosh, Tim.
With the 2nd pick in the 2007 NBA draft.
Who's picking?
The Seattle Supersonics select
Durant?
Kevin Durant from the University of Texas.
Oh yeah, besides Durant, this happened too.
Captain Paul Pierce. The newest member of the Boston Celtics, Kevin Garnett.
Man, he was a Timberwolf, man. And you don't hear nothing about him with the Timberwolves because he had no talent around him. He was so good in Minnesota,
Just behind him, the 2nd newest member of the Boston Celtics now, Ray Allen.
Look at all this talent, man, going to Boston. Boston somehow is just it, always.
These 3 worked out instantly. They wanted all their first season together, beating Kobe and the Lakers in 6, even though Paul Pierce faked an injury for having to take a shit. But coming off a finals loss, the Lakers
got off in a wheelchair.
Squad, so they did this.
As the Lakers acquired talented big man Pau Gasol.
Pau was so good, man. He was so good.
The Lakers traded for Pau Gasol, and that proved to instantly work just like the Celtics did, because Kobe won his 4th ring in 2009, giving him his 1st ring without Shaq.
It's crazy, though, because Kobe won in his early years with Shaq, and then without Shaq, it was kind of a downtime, and then when Pau went there.
After the Lakers championship, this happened.
With the 7th pick in the 2009.
Man, the Timberwolves had the 5th and 6th pick, I'm pretty sure.
NBA draft. The Golden State Warriors.
They'd rather take Johnny Flynn, man.
Stephen Curry from Davidson College.
This was a stacked draft class with Curry, Harden,
Johnny
DeRozan,
Flynn,
Blake Griffin. But it didn't matter who just entered the NBA. The Lakers were still the best team, and Kobe
beating
and
the
Pau and the team won their 2nd straight ring, giving Kobe 5, the amount he'd retire with. But I think we're finally starting to get into the modern era. Well, I say this because this offseason, a player who's still relevant today made one of the biggest decisions in NBA history.
Took his talents to South Beach.
The answer to the question everybody wants to know. LeBron, what's your decision?
In this fall, man, this is very tough. In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
Miami Heat.
That was the conclusion you woke up with this morning.
That was the conclusion I woke up with this morning.
Big bro.
LeBron joining the Heat meant he was teaming up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, two other superstars who shared the same draft class.
I'm surprised, and this might sound bad, I'm surprised the Heat didn't win every year he was in Miami.
And because of that, they were instantly one of the
Ray
best
Allen saved it, by the way.
He is in the NBA and found themselves in the NBA Finals, but this time, the opposite of the 2006 Finals. Dirk Nowitzki and the Mavs beat the Heat to win their first championship.
Which is crazy because the Heat, top to bottom, had a way better team.
Maybe the most impressive playoff run ever.
It was, for sure.
The Heat found themselves right back in the Finals the next season, and this time, I guess we can officially call it the LeBron James era, because LeBron won his first ring.
As the shot clock is turned.
What are we watching on? Why am I watching on a potato in 2012?
Once again, NBA champions LeBron James captures that elusive title he so desperately coveted.
Of course, the Heat will be right back in the championship next time, and this time, first Tim Duncan and the Spurs, but you know what happened.
Puts up a three.
Ray Allen saved it. This Spurs team was really good, though. Kawhi, TP.
Back out to Allen. His three-pointer. Bang! Tie game with 5 seconds remaining.
LeBron James won his second straight championship here, but of course, the Heat would go on to make their 4th straight finals appearance the next season, once again matched up against the Spurs. This time, the Spurs got the best of the Heat, and Tim Duncan wins his 5th NBA championship. But
it's crazy how many great players we've had, though. Like, even Tim Duncan. Like, obviously, the league has the guys that they want at their forefront of it, but, like, we have so many great players within them.
Leave out something that happened this offseason.
I feel like the league is way more balanced now.
Two things we only dreamed would come together.
This is crazy.
A delicious cheesy quesadilla.
This guy was really drafted during a Taco Bell commercial.
That's crazy.
But besides that, LeBron went back home after that, back to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and although we're still in the LeBron James era, we're almost in a sub era, a side era.
This is like the Golden State Warrior, man.
But the Steph Curry era is here now too, and this is the 14-15 season. And this was the first time we got LeBron James versus Steph Curry in the finals. But this time, Steph Curry got the best of the matchup, winning his first championship. But LeBron...
The Warriors-Cavs kind of rivalry was great, man.
Promised the Cleveland Cavaliers a ring. And in the season where Steph Curry won the first unanimous MVP ever, was the first player ever to hit 400 three-pointers, had the best record of all time with 73-9, the Cavs and Warriors were once again matched up.
They beat the 73-9 Warriors. That's so tough.
In the finals. And this finals can be summarized by 2 words: block, shot.
In Game 7, too. I think that's what's more impressive to me, Game 7.
Oh, blocked by James. And Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from down.
Kyrie is so cold, man.
The Cleveland Cavaliers win their first NBA championship. LeBron wins his 3rd ring, and LeBron and Kyrie make 2 of the biggest plays in NBA history. But the following offseason, one of the most surprising moments in NBA history took place.
Breaking news.
Happened.
It's here. And it's Golden State for Kevin Durant.
Wow.
Think about that team.
73-9, and then you get KD.
Think about a 73-win regular season team, 1 win shy of back-to-back NBA titles, and they just got the last MVP to win that award, not named Steph Curry.
What do you even say?
Unbelievable.
What do you even say?
Well, the Warriors now it's Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. Pretty easily, I can say this with confidence, pretty easily the greatest team ever assembled.
Ever.
But besides that, the great Tim Duncan called it a career that offseason as well. 5 championships. With
See, I wish I was like older and like really into the NBA when Tim Duncan was in his prime. Because even in like 2012-ish, like I wasn't that into the NBA.
Spurs. And no Kevin Durant meant the Thunder was Russell Westbrook's team now. And with that, he averaged a triple-double, the 2nd player ever to do
Russ
that.
was so
good
in his prime.
For the 3rd straight time, we got Warriors Cavs. And who's stopping Durant and Curry together?
J.R. Smith is who stopped it.
Well, no one. Because they'd go on to win this championship.
Maybe that was 2018.
And then the next one right
2018 is when J.R. Smith
Steph Curry,
stopped it.
now a 3-time NBA champion. Kevin Durant, 2 for himself also. But that offseason, this happened.
Because of my background, obviously, when Magic and I started this thing, we said the most important thing was excellence in the relationships we have with players and their teams. So, real talk, like if you ever experience anything or your team does, it's not done at an excellent level, we need to hear about it. Okay. So, I just want to...
Man, get out of here. I'm not trying to hear this with the Lakers.
Set those expectations.
I'm not trying to hear this.
Absolutely.
LeBron James was now a Los Angeles Laker, but other than that, the Warriors.
This was crazy. This Raptors win was crazy. Now it's kind of fluky. Definitely was fluky with injuries, but it was crazy.
Back in the finals, well, you can't win if you're not healthy, and the Warriors definitely weren't in 2019.
That's the thing. They weren't healthy.
So the Toronto Raptors took complete advantage of that.
Mickey Mouse kind of
led the Toronto Raptors to their first NBA championship, going 1-and-done with the Raptors. But I can't leave out the shot he hit in round 2 versus Sixers, my favorite shot in NBA history.
Me too, because it sent Joel Embiid home.
Kawhi up top, looks at the clock, turns the corner.
So tough.
The following season was the COVID season, and right before that,
this Lakers team was so good.
Made a pretty massive trade. They traded for Anthony Davis to join LeBron on the squad. But besides that, the NBA world and the world in general stopped on January 26th. When Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gianna, and 7 others lost their lives in a helicopter crash. To be honest, I wasn't born for 9/11, so me personally, I can't remember a time where the world ever stopped like that.
But genuinely, me neither. Like, I don't remember 9/11, but like genuinely, like you just stopped and you're like just we're sad the entire
After
was
that,
sad, man.
And something straight out of a storybook, the
Rest
Lakers would
in
go on
peace,
to
man.
win the NBA championship just months after. But skipping a year after that, we had the finals matchup. A guy who struggled to make the finals his entire career, Chris Paul, versus an emerging all-time great, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Giannis, man.
And the soon-to-be all-time
Chris
great
Middleton,
LeBron
too.
takes
Don't
his
forget
first
about
NBA
him.
championship home, adding to the already stacked collection with MVPs and a defensive
Drew
player of the
Holiday,
year.
too.
But although it's 2022 at this point, don't forget about the Warriors. Steph Curry is now #1 in all-time threes made.
This was a crazy year that the Warriors won. Like, this, in my opinion, Steph's most impressive championship by far.
And his team is clicking. So much so that they found themselves matched up against Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. And unfortunately for the Celtics, the Warriors got their 4th ring in the Steph Curry era.
Look at
That would
Jordan
bring us
Poole.
to the most recent completed NBA season, the 2022-23 season. What happened this season? Well, LeBron James became the NBA's all-time leading scorer for starters.
Coming to the end of the 3rd quarter.
Everybody had their phones out for this, too.
Other than that, though, the guy who was drafted during a Taco Bell commercial, Nikola Jokic, he cemented himself as one of the greatest players of all time.
Look at the Heat with the 8 seed. Like, I don't like Jimmy Butler, but, I mean, him leading them to the finals was impressive for sure.
Time as well, winning his first championship in a series versus the Heat. But that would bring us to today. Currently, midway through the 23-24 season,
This was back then.
we're
Let's see what he
nearing the
says.
end of careers of all-time greats like LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Damian Lillard. We're also in the midst of careers of guys who already cemented their place in the all-time great rankings, Giannis, Jokic, Embiid, Anthony Davis. But we also have some...
It's crazy, because Luka, Jason Tatum, the young guys are who we're paying attention to
young
now.
guys. Some guys who look like they're making great progress towards becoming all-time greats. Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, we never seen a talent like Victor Wembanyama before. I don't know.
I think 2024 is the year of the change, year of the shifts. Genuinely.
The list goes on if you really dig deep into it. But will the Nuggets go back-to-back and officially start there?
Nope. Tonight is when it all starts. But you guys, by the time you guys watch this, might not be. But Mavs versus Celtics, man. It's just a change in generations. But shout out to my man. Great video. Super cool even for me. Going back, reliving all those things, man. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you are doing as always, man. I love you guys. Have a blessed day.